Have you ever planted spring bulbs? I am dying to get out into my garden, but I live in zone 4. It's only the second week of March and my garden is still covered in snow. So that's not gonna happen for about a month and a half, 2 months. But there are a few things I can do already that will tide me over. The garden center is kind enough to provide me with spring bulbs. I bought about 5 bags. I have a tendency to go overboard. I don't even know where I'm gonna put them. I'll find space. I got myself some gladiolus, some hostas, some peonies, and a couple of other flowers, and I think some asparagus they also had there. Even though the company is called Bulbs Are Easy, they're not actually bulbs. They are rhizomes or rootstock. The gladiolus are what you call corms. Some of them might be bulbs, just not these ones here. 8 hosta assorted. Ooh, 1. Leaves. Oh, I didn't do the leaves. These are plants that you can just put in the basement, keep them somewhere dark, and you plant them outdoors in the spring, and a lot of them will bloom that same year. At the end of winter, the garden centers will put out seeds and bulbs for you to buy. Now, you don't have to buy them then. The garden centers are nice enough to grow them for you where you can then buy them when you're ready to plant them in the spring, but it will cost you a lot more because they are putting in their time and resources growing that plant for you. So they'll be a lot more expensive. These are from plants that I bought in years before. You know, this one is $13, this one is $9. So really when you think for $15, I got 8 hosta plants. This does save me a lot of money to do it this way. I am so eager to start planting that I just thought, why don't I just start them indoors and get a jump on in the season? So that's what I'm doing today. Do you know how to open these threaded bags? I'm going to just unknot it. You undo it until it's completely open here, and then you can just, pull like that. All along the edge, and then I'll pull out the front one and open back. When I think of spring flowers, crocuses, daffodils, tulips come to mind. These are an example of fall bulbs, bulbs that you plant in fall. They have their winter dormant period and they grow in early spring. But there are also bulbs called spring bulbs that you plant as soon as you're able to work your ground, and they will flower in late summer or early fall. A good rule of thumb is that if the plant flowers in the spring, you plant the bulb in the fall. If it flowers in the summer or fall, then you're planting that bulb in the springtime. Bulbs are different than seeds in their stage of their life cycle. A seed you can think of like a little embryo with a seed coat on it that contains all its nutrition for the beginning of its life. A bulb, on the other hand, is a plant that's already gone through its whole life cycle and has put out bulbs into the ground, which then you can take off and grow into a new plant. So they're already further along in their development. I'm going to read the instructions for how you plant them outdoors. Tips of the dormant eyes are just below the surface. Okay. I'm filling about that much. You can tell by the roots that they are different hostas. If you compare this to these roots and the size of the crown, this is going to be a big, massive hosta. The more last space you can give the plant. See that I'm wasting a lot of space underneath it if I only put the soil to there. So I'm going to pull the plant up a little bit more under it. There. I'm going to add some more soil. Okay, so like that. Bulbs are just bursting with energy and they are ready to go. They are ready to flower. And generally, the plants that you buy as bulbs are plants that take a long time to come into flower, from 2, 3, up to 7 years for you to actually get a flower from that seed. So this is why they're sold as bulbs, because you get a big jump on their life cycle, and you can plant them in the ground in spring or fall and you will have a flower display a few months later. These are peonies, Carl Rosenfield. There's supposed to be 4 of them in here. Let's have a look at them. Wow, big one. And, I mean, this doesn't look like a great specimen. It looks, the wood is rotted here. Look, it's smushy. Look at that. It's mushy. But let's get out this rot. We don't want the rot to rot out the rest of the bulb. But we'll see, right? We're gonna plant it anyway. If I look under here, something new is growing in there. So we'll try it. That's all we can do. When I'm deciding which of these to start indoors versus waiting until spring and starting outdoors, the only thing that I want to be careful about is looking at the days until flower. And in my case, it's just this gladiolus which has a flowering date. So on the package it says this bulb will take anywhere from 60 to 80 days until it flowers. I have about 55, 60 days until I can start planting outdoors. I'm gonna wait another 4 weeks to plant a few of them, and then I'm gonna hold back and plant the rest of them outdoors in the garden. That way I'm staggering my flowering time, so you have flowers continuously rather than having 50 plants all come into flower at the same time and then dying and there's nothing left to look at. So these look like they're going to be pretty easy to plant, but I'm going to read the back of the package. The top of the crown should be no more than 2 inches below the surface. I'll put this one in here. Put this in. They're gonna need a lot of water because this potting mix is so dry. So I'm gonna water them a few times. In each bag, there are anywhere between 4 and 150 bulbs. So you really do save a lot of money growing them this way, just like you do with seeds. So it's a really inexpensive way to add plants to your garden. I know I'll still go to the garden center and give them my hard-earned money, but I also enjoy doing it, especially here where I live in Canada, where I can't get out into my garden. I mean, this brings me such joy just to even be touching these and planting them in the soil. What's so wonderful about living in my part of the world, Eastern Canada, where I have 4 distinct seasons, is that each of them is so different and there's always something to look forward to. So now, even though I can't get out in the garden, that when this plant eventually starts to poke out of the soil, it's gonna make me so happy as I can watch something grow. So I'm really excited that I started this project now, and I know it's going to tide me over at least for the next 2 or 3 weeks until I can start my vegetable and my other flower seeds. Cold climate gardeners, don't fret. It's only another few weeks until we can really start gardening in earnest, and I know that time will fly by. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope I see you again next time. Bye.